One thing I always find when I learn about a successful person is how their lives have been very long, and it's oftentimes taken many, many years for them to achieve success. And they've gone through a lot of failures, a lot of very difficult, dark times, and a lot of problems and obstacles before they finally achieve success. The problem is, so many people assume that they just lucked out and had an overnight success. Are there people out there who do luck out in this way? For sure. But I guarantee you, a lot of the ones you think lucked out did not luck out. I can't tell you how many times I've seen or talked to someone and they're whining or complaining about how this person got lucky or how they could never do that because this person had connections and so forth. And then later on, I'll be reading that person's biography or learning about them for fun. And turns out they were unemployed and they couldn't get a job, even though they graduated from Yale and they had all these connections because their parents were wealthy individuals. And so, again, in this case, I'm talking about Anderson Cooper, but there's many examples. Hans Zimmer is another one. I've had cases of that exact same situation occur. But today, I want to talk about one specific person, Ellen DeGeneres. The reason why is because I've already done a lot of videos, full-length videos, about Ellen DeGeneres' life, which you can check out yourself. But more importantly, it's because Ellen is someone who's very successful now, very rich, very famous, and yet just the other day, I was on one of her YouTube videos, and lo and behold, in the comments, one of the most upvoted comments with like 100 upvotes is, oh, what a tragedy it is that this woman got successful so easily while some doctors bust their butt for 10 years to get to where they are. So this angered me a bit because I have learned about Ellen's life, and it was not an overnight success. Ellen is old. She's an old individual. She looks young. She looks very beautiful and very young, but she's old. She's like 50 years old, and she has gone through a lot before she really made it big. Again, check out some of the other videos, read her biographies on your own to figure that out. But I want to do something different in this video. I always summarize or talk about them just from my perspective in front of a camera. This time, I want to show you some footage of Ellen talking about some of the struggles she's went through her many, many years, to give you, right from the horse's mouth, some feedback. Perhaps you will be more convinced that way. So it's very interesting. I also did a whole blog detailing Ellen DeGeneres' story. I did a whole article on that. So if you're interested, also you can check out my blog below and read that whole article about her story. Now, having said all this, she did strike it lucky in certain ways. Technically, we all have. One of them is being born in the United States, being born without heart problems, being born without cancer, not developing cancer throughout our lives, being born with limbs, being born with a decent, non-deformed face. So you have all those luck traits yourself. And if you're one of those people who is constantly complaining, making excuses, check out this first clip of Ellen's. Here she talks about how hard it was for her going through sexual abuse.
When you were a teenager, your mother remarried. Mm-hmm. And the man she married, your stepfather, sexually abused you.
Yeah.
You just came out and talked about that very recently.
Yeah. It's still hard. My mother had just had a mastectomy. She had breast cancer. And he told me that he thought he felt another lump in her other breast, and he needed to feel mine. And reluctantly, I let him, and then it escalated to more and more trying to do more, and then she was out of town, and one night tried to break the door down when I was sleeping, and I had to kick a window out and go sleep in a hospital overnight and just stay on the floor. And it's a small town, so I couldn't tell people why I was there. He was a horrible, horrible man.
Your mother continued to stay with him?
She didn't believe me. And then his story kept changing through the years, and she realized he was lying.
There will be people, when they hear this, who may say, that's why she's gay. Mm-hmm.
I think I was gay long before that, you know.
Okay, so back to me. Now I have more than just that one clip. I'm going to show you another clip, and this time Ellen is talking about how she couldn't find a job and she was unemployed, and it was all because she decided to come out and declare that she was openly gay in a time where that was, on a global and national basis, much more controversial and against culture to do that, and thus alienate herself. So here we go.
10 years ago, can't believe it was 10 years ago, when you publicly announced that you were gay, it was such a sensation. How did it feel when you finally said it out loud?
Even rehearsal was, I would cry during rehearsal because it was a huge thing to actually say. And even after I came out, I was scared to death. Like, you know, I still didn't want people to know, even though I'd said it. And it really is about living your truth. That's all it is. That's all it is.
After that, and the sitcom had been very successful, it wasn't. It went downhill. It did make a difference.
Huge.
And then you had a very tough time. You couldn't get a job. What was that like?
Not only couldn't get a job, couldn't get someone on a phone. I mean, they're literally, you know, the show was canceled and no one called me. It was just, I found out, my assistant read it in the paper. And, you know, I felt sorry for myself. I felt like this isn't fair. I thought people liked me, and why did this change anything? And I still am the same person, and, you know, everything felt horrible to me.
When did it change?
About 3 years later, nothing was happening, and I just decided, this is crazy. Why am I waiting for somebody to give me a job? I'm a writer. I'll just write an HBO special, and they'll see that I'm funny and that I'll get a job.
So yeah, that's all I want to share with you today. There's more to her story than that. In fact, there's a lot to her story. She had numerous jobs before she even got into her stand-up career, her comedy career, and that really took a long time to propel herself to sitcoms and television shows, which eventually led to her getting canceled on because she came out gay, because she just wasn't feeling comfortable inside, hiding things, which led to more unemployment, which eventually led to, you know, after a lot of more stuff, you know, sitcoms failing, a new show finally after years of unemployment, to another sitcom which eventually got canceled quickly, and then on and on and on before she finally started her talk show. And now, you know, you should know by now that her show has been running for many, many years, and it has won many awards, and she has gone on to do so many amazing things. And it just goes to show you that some things take time to develop into the successful, amazing things that can happen. So have patience. And if you want to read more about her story, again, check out the article, which I will link below, either somewhere on this video or in the description below, where I just detail you some aspects of her life. But it's very interesting. You know, she had many, many jobs before she got to where she was. She was a vacuum cleaner salesperson, door to door. She painted houses. She was a oyster shucker. She was a hostess. She was a waitress. She worked at JCPenney. That's very interesting. You know, this girl was not a overnight success story as so many people assume. And I think, especially for someone like me, that's a great thing, because it gives me hope. It gives you hope in the case that you're stuck in a horrible situation which you hate. So that's all I gotta say, and I will see you in my next video if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe if you want. Otherwise, I'll see you never. But peace out. I'll see you guys later, hopefully.